The following news flash is brought to you by the Lone Star Lowdown, providing your daily bulletins for the commodities market. Today in history, news updates, and the inside scoop into the tides of the alternative. Markets for Wednesday, May 11th, 2016 are currently trading with gold at $1,273.87 an ounce, silver $17.29 an ounce, Texas crude $44.66 a barrel, and Bitcoin is currently sitting at about 456 U.S. currency. Today in history, the year 1949. By a vote of 37-12, the newly formed State of Israel, so-called, becomes the 59th member of the UN. The Zionist State of Israel admitted into the United Nations. Today in history. In recent news, it seems that this presidential campaign cycle has sparked more than 185,000 citizenship applications submitted in the final 3 months of 2015, according to government numbers, which is roughly a 14% year-to-year increase, and around 15,000 more voter registrations were submitted compared to the same 3-month period in 2011, leading into the 2012 presidential campaign cycle. Typically, the rate of citizenship applications and voter registrations historically increases in the months leading up to a presidential election as various state deadlines draw to a close. And even though the latest statistics from the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services on citizenship applications for the first quarter of the year aren't expected until June, this year's increased activity is suspected to be as a result of the Republicans' most likely frontrunner candidate Donald Trump's heavy anti-illegal immigration rhetoric. The Jamaat-e-Islami Party leader, Mothiur Rahman Nizami, was hung today for genocide and other crimes committed during the 1971 Bangladesh War of Independence from Pakistan. He was executed at Dhaka Central, a jail just after midnight, after the Supreme Court rejected his final plea against the death sentence imposed by a special tribunal for genocide, rape, and orchestrating the massacre of intellectuals during the war. He was sentenced to death back in 2014, and though several international human rights groups say that the tribunal procedures fall short of international standards, the government is rejecting such notions. The Jamaat-e-Islami Party has called for a nationwide strike for tomorrow in protest, stating that their dead leader was a victim of political targeted opposition. The U.S. State Department did say that while it supported justice being carried out, it was vital that the trials were free, fair, and transparent, and conducted in accordance with international agreements. This is Rick Rohde with your lowdown for May 11th, 2016.
Logos Radio Network presents The Truth Exposed Radio Show every Wednesday 6 to 8 p.m., bringing to you breakdowns on current events, history, and philosophy with your hosts, Rick Rohde, Marshall Soul, and Connie Rowe. And thank you for tuning in.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio here. This lovely Wednesday, May 11, 2016. We are live and jiving as usual, 6 to 8 p.m. This is Truth Exposed Radio, as the intro did so eloquently state.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm one of your hosts, Connie Rowe,
Marshall Soul,
Rick Rohde. And do we have a jam-packed show for y'all tonight? Hopefully you guys have been enjoying yourselves, having a great week, grinding, doing what you do. And, this, what are we, on the 11th of May, right?
11th of May, 2016. Yes, sir. Yes,
wow,
sir.
This year is going by so fast.
Flying by.
Summer's creeping up and it is getting hot out there.
Hot during the day, hailstorm during the night.
Yeah, for real. It's never, man, I'm building an ark over here. Yeah, it's raining every night. I'm like, man.
Yeah.
Get your rowboat.
Something's up. If it wasn't for all this propaganda on climate change, I'd swear there was something up with the climate. But
I don't know, you remember seeing that one storm that rolled through? It was a couple weeks ago when it was just the weather popped up and it was just a purple cell, a huge purple cell just floating over like Chavano Park over here in San Antonio, and it just popped up out of nowhere and then just drifted out towards the hill country, and it was like supposedly dropping billiard-sized hail.
Jeez.
Oh yeah.
I mean, the news took it upon themselves to come online and waste about 15 minutes of everybody's time to tell everybody about it.
Insurance companies are definitely feeling it. Not enjoying that one.
They don't cover the glass though.
Yeah, bummer, right? Well, ladies and gentlemen, this show, as y'all well know, is dedicated to an approach to analyzing current events and philosophy from a consistently liberal, libertarian, free, capitalist, freedom-loving perspective.
Real libertarian.
Yeah, and a classical liberal, if you will.
Hey, that's the only kind of liberal there is.
Yeah, but some may misinterpret your term of liberal.
People misinterpret a lot of things these days.
It's been bastardized, as of late,
Yeah. So we definitely love bringing new ideas to the forefront and definitely breaking them down on a pretty basic level with you guys and gals. And hopefully you guys do appreciate what we do here at Truth Exposed. And hopefully you guys come along for the ride. We are going to have open lines this show. So if you guys feel like, gals feel like calling up and add in a couple of cents to this conversation, a couple of ideas, definitely do so. 512-646-1984. And before we continue on with our analysis of polycentric law or the possibility of having competing law enforcing agencies and the possibility of having contractual voluntary law, how was y'all's week?
Well, mine was decent.
Mine was pretty good. I spent my weekend down at Port Aransas, Texas.
I think I might have indulged in a few shooting of some firearms, possibly.
I found cinnamon whiskey.
Oh, that sounds good.
It was very good.
I saw you with a straw in that bottle.
That I did. I even tried it with French toast, and it was amazing.
For breakfast?
Yes, for breakfast.
Whiskey for breakfast. It's a pretty good book out there.
Might have to write a song about it or something.
Yeah. My week was definitely interesting. Just usual, the grind of the hustle and bustle, but definitely always interesting bringing these concepts to people and just having the dissidence and the cognitive.
You were not on
disconnect.
the spot with the PA preaching?
Mm-hmm.
No, I didn't get a chance to do that.
What was that bridge y'all had hit up last time? What was that bridge y'all went
the
to?
Hayes Bridge?
Yeah, the Hayes Bridge.
Yeah, it's a pretty cool little spot out here in San Antonio, downtown.
I just slipped by up there with my amplifier with y'all one day.
Yep. Yeah, there's some plugs on the bridge we could plug in.
Would be cool.
Well, I got that one thing, too, that you can split, the little quad that's a splitter.
Oh, yeah.
So let's get to it. Rat-a-tat-tat.
Let's do it. We see all these issues today with police. I see it on my Facebook page all the time. I just recently saw one where somebody, a young man, had got shot and paralyzed by the police, and he had won a settlement for millions of dollars or whatever. And everyone's like, yeah, he deserved that,
The victim, got paralyzed. Yeah.
He deserved to get paralyzed?
No, he deserved the money.
Even though what amount could justify you being put in that situation?
And where the issue really lies in the problem is, do the police, did the agency actually have to fit the bill? Did they actually even if they did, were they even held accountable? Was the officer held? So,
the money comes from the taxpayer time and time again. Did you see that one? I believe it was over in Detroit or somewhere up in there. There was those two brothers that walked into a burger joint, and these cops had followed them in and just asked for their ID, and they're like,
"Oh, the one where they got in a fight."
Yeah, they got in a fist fight with the cops, and they threw down with them, and it got dropped because the cops were out of line. The kids are just coming back in self-defense.
Yeah, I saw that one. That was crazy. And
which you better hope you have a lot of evidence to defend yourself.
They were lucky there was video evidence.
When it's the police's word against yours.
They win all the time, even when there is video evidence.
Yeah.
I don't even know if the guy who beat up Kelly Thomas or all the guys were they even held accountable? I can't.
Oh yeah.
I think they got off. And that was like hour-long murder.
Yeah, and they get administrative leave, and they get a
paid vacation.
Yeah.
But where does that money come from? It comes from the taxpayer, the tax slave.
So let's explore.
So that really brings up one of the there's main issues to everything, of course, but one of the main cruxes of the problem with centralized monopolistic law and security is that when especially when it's funded by tax dollars through coercion, is that when they themselves commit some atrocity or some outrageous act and then have to fit the bill for restitution, that agency or that organization doesn't have to actually feel the consequence of such negligence or such atrocious actions. They just pass it on to the taxpayer.
Yeah, because imagine what kind of private business could afford a $19 million hit. And then imagine, how many there be with this huge, giant,
they ended up just having
organization.
like a legal team.
You wouldn't be in business too long.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, unless you got a good legal team, you're docking a bit of everybody's pay for their actions and paying it towards a legal team to be on hand for the mistakes. But you don't necessarily think you want that either.
Of course not.
Well, good legal team or not. I'm sure, Allstate Insurance or Geico have, some of the best legal teams out there, but nonetheless, they're having to pay for claims, whatever, that are against their clients. They don't go to war. They don't go to legal battles because the longer let's face it, the longer you litigate and take things to court, well, that's more money out of your pocket. And if you're clearly at fault, you might as well just go ahead and cough up the funds.
You want to
as soon as
suffer the
possible.
least amount.
Yeah.
Or settle in some manner.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. So, and that's our issue, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we're so quick to acknowledge and to accept the reality that monopoly is bad for the consumer. Of course, no one would complain if you're the producer and you're the only one allowed to offer this monopolistic service or product. But if for the consumer, it's generally agreed upon, whether, you're a socialist or a capitalist, a statist or an anarchist, everyone tends to agree that monopolies are bad for consumers. So really, the logical question would be to ask, well, why are we allowing for monopolies in the most essential of services?
Because competition is a sin, Rick.
I guess so. I mean,
to quote Mr. Rockefeller John D.
Yep.
So yeah, why are we allowing for monopolies when it comes to our security, when it comes to our, quote unquote national protection, when it comes to the arbitration of justice, the ruling of judges and whatnot? Why are we allowing for monopolies, or a monopoly rather, the government, the state, to have such a grasp on
things that are extremely critical, right? Yeah, in society.
You remember seeing those articles that popped up? They were talking about those cities that have fired their police forces and hired private police forces.
Oakland, California, and Irving, Texas.
Saving so much money by doing so, and then also having the ability to fire particular companies because of their actions,
victimless crimes,
or they just weren't providing their service well enough. However, because you as a customer should have the right to pick and choose who you want your services from. That way there's no monopoly on a product, and you're able to get selection. So of course the selection wants to be better for you, and it creates a competition amongst themselves to be better.
Yeah, there's no choice. So
no doubt. Free competition leads towards better products at a better price. This is why monopolies are bad for consumers. You can expect products to get degrade in quality and also increase in price and in cost when it's just one monopoly, one provider for such a service. That's a predictable, economic, foreseeable reality. And ladies and gentlemen, haven't police budgets been on a constant increase? Haven't government budgets been on a constant increase ever since any new agency is birthed into creation?
Yeah, each little bureaucrat needs food on his table,
Yep. And it's at the expense of, the collective. There's a lot to collect from.
Yeah, there's Social Security's milk dry. Medicaid, Medicare, you'd be lucky if you ever see that.
But you got to keep paying for it.
But you better pay.
Man.
It's a black hole, man.
Yeah, it really is. It really is. And having that much power in the hands of a few people, it's no surprise we see people in any state of situation, any situation where there's a failed state or an overthrow of the government. People clamor, to the point of killing each other in order to attain that position of power. I mean, people are willing to. I mean, what are we seeing with the rise of ISIS and the Kurds fighting them and everything? I mean, we're seeing people battle to the death over who can be the sole
and then you got
arbiter of
the state.
law.
You got Turkey fighting the Kurds and supposedly fighting ISIS, but that they've been getting their oil from ISIS. They've been caught red-handed by Russia, where ISIS is sending those fuel trucks through Turkey. So they're over there squashing the Kurdish resistance for ISIS and, helping for the project for the greater Israel,
Yep.
Oh yeah. Theocracy and statism is even, it just adds to the monopoly, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And the people who are, in the state aren't the ones down on the ground doing all the fighting.
No.
Oh, right. General sitting back, bureaucrat sitting back and sending young men to die.
No risk for them.
That's what the peasants are for,
And really, they have no power. It's the people who listen to them and follow their orders, so.
We're all just pawns on it today.
We hate to say, we hate to say that we're all pawns, but at the same time, a lot of these people brought it upon themselves. And they're seeking the, let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, you don't just blindly join up to the service. Everyone seeks their own self-interest and self-benefit. And when you own the printing press, it's easy to pay off as many people as you can to join your cause. So, we're coming on a break and we're going to keep analyzing this concept of polycentric law. So definitely stay tuned here on Truth Exposed Radio. Be right back.
You are listening to the Logos Radio Network. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Am I all right? Yeah, I'm all right.
For watching my love, I've got something to say. I want to say it now, but now is today. The love has been given to grab and enjoy. So let's all grab and let's all enjoy. It's a kiss. I am nothing. There will never
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Exposed Radio. Talking about polycentric law. It's an interesting concept. You know, we've heard various examples, you know, where police forces are being privatized to the point where they're for hire by the public. We hear of cases where, you know, there's courts that are actually for and by the people that's, you know, privatized. So the sense that there's less political corruption and less bias to accumulate money to where the objectives of the job are different, because in a sense, when you have law enforcement officers that are working for the city, their job is to generate revenue for the city. You know, and if you privatize it, their job is to minimize costs and still, you know, upholding the laws and not bringing up any kind of liability against themselves or the city.
And to provide the service for the consumer versus for the state or the city or the government.
Yeah. You'd get a lot more of those nice officers that you see out there on the road, because there are good cops out there, great ones, you know. But there's a lot of corrupt ones, or being corrupted by the city for their means.
They're being used as a tool for wrong. I like it when, you know, Rick tells them all the time downtown, you know, hey, you know, you're needed. Your service is needed. You just need to go to the private sector. And they just kind of like look dumbfounded, like, what? Yeah. Oh, no, they don't. They're just, it's like kind of like they're trying to think about it, trying to like let it.
Do you remember that birthday party we were at when Rick spent most of the time over there talking to that cop?
Yeah, that was my birthday, right?
That was your birthday. That's right. It was your birthday.
We're over there playing video games.
The main event or whatever.
Yeah, we're playing video games, and he's playing with the police.
He's over there like, dang, look at Rick over there with the big old beer over there talking to
He's like, are you getting paid by the state?
Well, yeah, they were there. They were there on city money.
Are you getting paid by main event to be here?
So, yeah, they were getting paid by the city to watch main event.
So
which,
taxpayers.
Yeah, are subsidizing security for a big corporate establishment.
Or on private property.
Private business?
Yeah.
It's private property. Main events.
Yeah.
Any establishment is private property.
So I mean,
it's
who's fitting the bill, right?
Yeah,
to protect whom?
Yeah.
I mean, and that's the issue, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, we believe in justice. We believe in order. We believe that obviously people's property and liberty and lives should not be aggressed upon. That is the one thing we do, you know, that we hold as a universal reality.
Yeah, we just don't agree with how you pay for it.
Well, that would be an aggression on property. So we're consistently against crime. We're tough on crime. We're tougher on crime than the most ardent conservative out there, because we believe that
the government's committing crimes, and we're willing to say it.
We're willing to say it and offer alternatives to that. So yeah, I mean, as we were mentioning last segment, monopolies always tend to give us less of a quality of a product at a higher cost to the consumer. And as we were stating, this is what exactly government has you know done over the decades and years that it's been in power, entrenched in power, is that we see budgets continuously growing. I mean, don't mind inflation aside, the budgets are still growing. And yet the quality of the actual service itself, hey, we're running out of your Social Security. Hey, there's more crime apparently, right? According to government statistics, there's more crime out there, so we can't stop it. And the drug war is just at a complete loss. And it really points out that, I mean, when you look at the incentives of a public, so, a tax funded security service or tax funded law, the incentives, as Marshall was pointing out, are to wait and prosecute after a crime has been, crime unquote, quote unquote, crime has been committed. You can't extract funds from somebody who hasn't committed a crime. So really the incentive is to wait for crimes to occur.
Respond to them.
Whereas
you can't prevent crime.
Well, yeah. Who are you gonna give a citation to? Who are you gonna throw in jail?
You can't do predictive, crime patterns and such. I mean, you could, but is it really just?
The first line of defense is yourself.
Exactly.
For sure. So, with the first line of defense being yourself, no doubt. I mean, in any situation, a police officer isn't Superman or Batman or the Flash who can just appear in a millisecond and save the day, be the superhero of the day. I mean, no, the first line of defense has always been the individual, being, the victim being aggravated upon. And this does lead to, essentially, what would we call it?
What do you mean? What do we call it?
Well, since your typical grandma or child or, disabled person or anything like that, or even somebody that may be a pacifist. Somebody that may be quote unquote dependent. I mean, we shouldn't expect them to defend themselves. And like everything else in the market, we can't build our own computers and make our own boots and build our own house. We depend on the division of labor to do so. So naturally, if we were to open up security and law and the enforcement of such things to the market, they would be people that would specialize in those things and be very prolific at them, proficient.
Definitely. I mean, a while back, my little sister got her house broken into, and she didn't waste time calling the police. First thing she did was went across the street to the neighbor who she knew had a gun and said, "Hey, can you go inside my house right now? Make sure there's nobody in there." Guy came over with a gun and went inside the house and cleared it. Like, I mean, it's in people's, we need to reach out to our neighbors more. And
well, see, that also brings the aspect of society. Society would be better if if they were held accountable for their actions, because nobody's going to want to help you if you're a bad person who's done people wrong.
Yeah.
So, excuse me. So, of course, you as a person would want to be better, so that way if you ever need anything, somebody would be more inclined to help you whenever they could.
I mean, you scratch my back, I scratch yours. My neighbor's going to want me to watch out for his stuff, and I'm going to want to watch out for his stuff in return, so he'll watch out for mine. So,
and of course, you have family members that would look after, elderly members or other family members that have become impaired by any manner. So, I mean, it all kind of works itself out in a balance. We all do good to each other.
Yeah, definitely. Instead of just passing the buck onto some centralized organization and think they're gonna, magically come down and save the day.
Yeah, I mean, let's face it. You get in a hit and run. Somebody hits your car and speeds off. Unless you get a picture of the vehicle or the license plate, cops aren't going to do anything about that. You're going to end up calling your insurance company, and they're going to fix it a lot quicker than any police officer is going to. Detective Scruff McGruff is going to fix the day. Yeah.
It'd be a lot less expensive on society if that's the route you took.
But a private company now would see it as an opportunity to earn more trust in their clients and to possibly, maybe get higher pay or something.
Well, and they're under a contract, right? I mean, they formed an agreement with you that they would protect you from such things if that was on your on your statement.
That private company may have like an investigation team unto itself that's already posted up at various spots looking for such things to gather information. You don't know, but they probably do a lot better job than the monopolized version we're stuck with through the government.
Well, without a doubt, any little economic, relative understanding would conclude to such realities, to such agreements. Because let's face it, ladies and gentlemen, I mean, if a company has to cough up money every time some damages are done to your property or some damages are done to your body, to your livelihood, well,
they're going to stop doing that.
They don't want to cough up the money, right? They're greedy, evil capitalists. They want to keep as much money as they can. So the incentive is actually to prevent crime from ever happening. And to diminish, the increased aura of aggravation, instead of just waiting for crime to happen so you can have someone to prosecute. That costs money. You can't, the broken window fallacy.
Yeah.
Waiting until the window breaks is not the way to conduct a profitable business. It's preventing the window.
So did I hear you right that in a free market that the greedy people will actually have to do good and produce good things to get rich and to be greedy?
Typically, that's how it would work, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Now greedy people can just run for president and get a bunch of kickbacks from the banking institutions and big corporate America and
sit back and get fat.
Whoever their sponsors were. I mean, I still say they should have politicians should wear their outfits like NASCAR people with all their sponsors on them, who's donated to them, who's funding them, their lobbyists and such.
Well, we can't have that now.
It's a good idea.
And let's face it, right? Every piece of legislation is there to benefit some crony. So definitely continue on this thread of thought here after this message segment. So definitely stay tuned.
With all the immigrants begging to come to America, you'd think people who are born here would be counting their lucky stars. So why then are record numbers of Americans renouncing their U.S. citizenship? I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, back with the answer next.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This message is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Last year, 1,800 Americans living overseas renounced their citizenship, a record number. Do these folks just hate our country? No, but they're fed up with burdensome tax laws. Most countries don't force citizens living abroad to pay federal taxes, but the U.S. does. In fact, since 2004, the government has hit Americans living overseas with steep fines and criminal charges, even forcing them to disclose information on spouses who are foreign nationals. It's high time the U.S. got off the backs of Americans living overseas, and come to think of it, the rest of ours too. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht for StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine.
Looking for some truth? You found it. LogosRadioNetwork.com.
Walking down Babylon Lane, trying to live my life in peace.
And we're back live this May 11th, 2016. Live here every Wednesday on the Logos Radio Network. This is Truth Exposed Radio. And you could go to our website, logosradionetwork.com, and please check out the Logos 2016 gun giveaway. It is still up till June 1st. We do have some lovely Second Amendment related prizes to give away. You need to check that out.
They're beautiful. Beautiful.
I mean, I don't know how many times we had to try to describe this spiked skull lower receiver, but you really just need to go to logosradionetwork.com and check it out for yourself.
You got to check it out for yourself, because I wish my lower receiver looked like that. I got a nice shiny, aluminum one, but I got one that looks like that.
Yeah, that one is awesome. And that's the first place prize. And don't forget about the second place prize is the Taurus Curve, a really sleek concealed handgun.
That is the right word to describe
Sexy.
it. Sleek.
Yeah. It's purposely made to have nothing on it that's snagged, so it can
be perfect for concealed carry. For self-defense.
Pull it out your pocket without pulling everything else out of your pocket with it.
All you UT students up there in Austin.
It's got some little belt clip on it. You can take it off if you want, but it's got a nice little belt clip on it. Got a flashlight, got a laser built into it.
Definitely. And there are 10 third place prize winners will receive a $25 gift certificate to All About Vapor. And so we
Vape it up.
And it does only cost $25 to get into the drawing. So we do appreciate any donations.
And if you purchase Eddie Craig's traffic seminar before June 1st, you'll get, I believe it is 10 entries into this gun drawing.
10.
Yes.
Yeah.
I still need to hit him up and ask if that's retroactive.
You bought it already?
Bought mine, can I get like 10 entries into that? And I can tell you that I've enjoyed having his traffic seminar and the information he's provided. It's very good.
Saved you enough money to enter into the 2016 gun giveaway a few times, huh?
Oh yeah.
So we do appreciate that, and would appreciate your help. Any help you could give, we would greatly appreciate it.
Yeah, it's all for the Logos Radio. It's for Logos Radio Network.
Yes, sir. Just to keep the transmission going.
Oh yeah. Definitely want to take advantage of the vapor situation here for all you vape heads out there, because it seems like the government's starting to really crack down on the whole vape industry.
Yeah, they're trying to legislate it, banning it pretty much, but not directly banning it, but pretty much banning it or making it near impossible.
It's crazy. It's like they always want their problem, reaction, solution things. They always want us to be sicker so they can keep us on their healthcare and all these different things.
Yeah, it makes you wonder which either vape company was behind that legislation to ensure that they were one of the few producers that's allowed to provide such a product, or
was it
or even
tobacco
the tobacco companies may have had their grease to skid up.
I guarantee. Yeah. I mean, they spend millions to fight, marijuana decriminalization and other things. So I guarantee it. They're looking at that like a huge competition.
Same with America. Oh, I mean Budweiser. America.
I saw that they renamed Budweiser to America for a time period. I'm like,
what?
Yeah, Budweiser is now going to be called America.
Wait, are you serious?
Yes, I'm dead serious.
You know what that means, right?
They left the A on there for some reason in America.
Well, that
it's called America.
No, it's
I'm like, it's called America.
They should have just put Burger.
But it's being pretty blatant, like everything else in this life that we live in, this crazy world that we live in. They're literally telling us
we're slowly slipping into idiocracy.
Yeah, they're telling us straight faced that hey, America tastes like piss.
Well, the Asian
Clydesdale urine.
Was it some Asian company bought it, or some Asian family bought it, right?
Yeah, right. It's not even American anymore.
It's not even American anymore.
And Dos Equis is not from Mexico. I mean, it's not Mexican. It's German.
Oh, interesting. Yeah, well,
that's
why I drink the craft brew, baby.
Yeah, get them pills out of here.
Yeah.
Norm Pilsners.
Yeah, nah. I gotta have some taste.
But we like taste in everything, don't we? Style, our philosophy,
definitely.
Our revisionist history,
we're starting to enjoy the finer things in life.
My root beer. Yeah. I had a Not Your Kids root beer float over the weekend. That was pretty good. I was speaking of the Not Your Father's root beer alcoholic beverage.
Oh, you over there getting drunk on ice cream?
It was pretty good. It was very good.
I bet.
Could have been a bigger mug though.
Hey, well, you're a grown adult, and you're working for your own, so it's almost like a well-deserved treat to be able to crack open a cold one and just pop it back after a long day at the grind. So
bad it is.
So we've been getting into this concept of privatizing everything.
Decentralization.
Oh, yeah.
Polycentric. Just
Oh yeah. And the benefits that such a private, free, competitive society would bring to all of us, the consumers. Talked about the increased quality and the decrease in price. I mean, when you have different security agencies competing for your buck, you can best bet that the budgets are going to be a lot lower than what the city budgets are today. For
perfect example is the gas stations on the corner wars. The gas station wars where they're dropping the gas prices. Each one's trying to drop it down 1 cent lower than the other one to pick up the more business that day.
Yep.
So the other side can't go much lower than the people across the street, or else they're not going to sell.
Yeah,
Just creating that competition.
Yep. There's also that cost benefit analysis and everything.
Oh yeah, It's it's marked up. My buddy used to drive those tankers. He tells me they mark that up.
Oh yeah.
Well, and there's like the fear of like, oh well, what if these providers collude, right, to have a certain set, floor price or whatever.
They collude with the government and make a law, and then no one else is allowed to produce.
Yeah, right. You're not allowed to underbid. You're not allowed to overbid. You're not allowed
That's
to.
That's how the FDA came around. That's how the EPA and
AMA.
Yeah, the American Medical Association.
Yeah.
You can't forget them.
The Postal Service. How about them? They're great. I love the monopoly on the USPS.
Well, now they've been starting to subcontract some too.
They got to. They can't.
Actually, I almost saw a mailman get T-boned today.
Dang.
That guy was going up probably about 50 miles an hour.
Oh, those poor mail guys got a hard job, man.
It's because he's driving on the right side of the car. He doesn't figure it out. Got a little confused there.
Yeah. Oh man.
So, I mean, it seems pretty simple, ladies and gentlemen, that when you open competition to any product or service, you end up getting better goods at a better cost. I mean, it's so obvious that it feels depressing to have to even state it. But
look at computers. A long time ago, the first computer was like $1 billion to get the first computer.
Yeah,
but now
about as big as
5 megabytes.
Yeah, and now we've got like terabytes and terabytes, and like,
you also look at the size reduction because it used to be
$50.
big.
But I mean, for the price of one back then, what you could buy now, I mean, you could buy a supercomputer for that price. Like, look at flat screen TVs. I mean, they used to cost a whole ton of money when they first came out, and now you can get one for a few $100s. It was way better than that.
Mm-hmm.
Got the 4K and the 7K coming out. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they stick the cameras in there. You make it cheaper for you to get a camera in your house.
Yeah. They got to spy on you.
It's going to be just like 1984 and you got that screen that pops up and someone's going to be telling you to get up and work out in the morning.
Yeah. I told my friend about that. I said, man, you better watch out, man. They're going to peep on you while you're getting freaky with your wife.
What was it? Samsung? I can't remember what company it was that came out. Was a couple years ago that they said that they cannot deny that they're listening to you, and you should just watch out what you say if you don't want the government to taking down anything about you.
Yeah. I saw that.
It was in their manual. And it was another company too.
Oh yeah, they put them in the cable boxes as well.
Yeah. Well, with all these IP laws, intellectual property rights laws, and all that so-called rights, I mean,
if you sing a song or tell a story about that was copywritten by Disney or something in your living room, they're going to send you a bill for it.
Yeah, and I mean,
you sang your kids to sleep using one of our lullabies.
Yeah, exactly.
$1,500 fine.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, we on a break. Stay tuned.
Easy.
And we are back, ladies and gentlemen. We are back and quite relaxed here, breaking down the philosophy of polycentric law. And
what, you're relaxed? I just got aggravated when I saw that headline right there.
I know what? Kissinger to get distinguished medal or some honor?
Yeah.
Distinguished Public Service Award. Henry Kissinger.
That boy needs to be distinctly in prison.
I swear, Holiday in Cambodia was written for that guy.
Yep.
Man.
Yep. So you definitely going to want to check out our Facebook page.
Wait, that was Brzezinski. I'm sorry. I think that was Brzezinski.
Definitely want to check out our Facebook page here, Truth Exposed Radio. And we got some good info concerning, not only current events, but definitely some of the recent posts we have up here is, State or Private Law Society by Hans Hermann Hoppe, and the Production of Security by Gustav de Molinari. And,
Say that 5 times.
This guy, yeah, right. This guy was a G. I mean, this guy came up with the intellectual concept of privatizing security in courts back in the 1840s.
Whoa.
Yeah, this is about 100 plus years before Rothbard ever coined the term anarcho capitalist.
Whoa.
But essentially, we have the concept being fully articulated, and we got the audio. I don't want to call it an audio book, but what's that?
It's like the original Private Eyes.
Yeah, right.
Private eyes.
Exactly.
So I got the audio book up. It's more like an audio
I'm gonna have to check that
flyer, but yeah, a little pamphlet. But definitely some good stuff on there, and Hans Hermann Hoppe breaking it down step by step, everything we're trying to articulate here. So definitely encourage you guys to check out these well articulated, well versed gentlemen in this field. But we were discussing how obviously we were talking about the reduction of prices and the increase of quality when it comes to open competition. And why would somebody want to have a monopoly on violence, on force?
It would just be a free for all without a monopoly, Rick. We don't want a free for all. Everybody's going crazy making things and doing things and providing services that we can't capitalize on and monopolize on.
We could end all the wars if we just have one government. Who are they going to fight?
Yeah.
Oh, us.
Yeah, right. So, yeah, I mean, when you open up competition, I mean, I don't think anybody is willing to go to the extreme of wanting the government to be the sole provider of bread, or of cheese, or of milk, and
be some stale bread,
basic goods.
I'm Bernie Sanders.
We've seen, yeah, right.
Get your bread and your penicillin in one.
Yeah, we've seen the result of that, and it's shortages, it's increased prices, and it's a horrible, even spoiled to the point of spoilage. Goods that are good for nothing. So, not goods at all. They're bads, right? So,
at least there would be bread lines, Rick.
I'm sure. Stand in 8 hours.
Without
right?
government, there would be no bread lines.
Yeah.
Stand in line for 8 hours for just a loaf of bread. So, I mean, so there's very few diehard
bread, dude.
diehard communists that would want to promote such a full-fledged communistic state. I mean, they admit that that capitalism is a way better means to achieving wealth and prosperity for people and for achieving those basic needs.
It's produced enough that everything we needed right now, and then we can just start, we can stay right here and just decline. I mean, I don't get it. I don't get their logic. It's crazy.
Yeah. So, we were mentioning, Marshall brought up classical liberals here earlier on the show. And typically back in the day, your laissez-faire classical liberals, as we were reading John Locke a couple of weeks ago and spending our time breaking that down.
Spending a couple of weeks.
Yeah, spending a couple of weeks, some time upon times. But, classical liberals, for the most part, relegated the state to the sole duties of security, national security and arbitration, right? Courts and rulings and whatnot. So definitely, getting some feedback here. But regardless, let's turn it down here. But let's see here.
Yeah, we're good.
We're saying
we're good.
Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, with this monopolization that we see in this in law and in justice, we really have to ask ourselves: what is the intent? What is the motive? What are people trying to get at? With why are they willing to die and kill and clamor for this monopolization, for this seat of power? And we realize, quite logically, if you extend it and deduce it, that once you gain the monopoly on justice, once you gain the monopoly on law, well, you decide who's the winner and loser in practically everything after that point. As we were mentioning, the classical liberals, mentioned that, or were promoting a society where just government would just deal with the basics. But as we've seen and noticed for the last 100+ years,
liberalism was like more individual freedom.
Oh yeah, no doubt. But as we've seen for the last 100, 200 years, republics and constitutions and quasi-liberalism failed. The idea of a limited state only brought us to a
humongous, gigantic, enormous,
imperialistic, monolithic state.
State.
Yeah. So that was an utter failure. It was unable to be contained. The cancer was unable to be contained to just those services.
Everyone has to be completely vigilant and has to keep curtailing, has to keep trimming away, pruning the tyranny. And it's just like, look at it now.
Government is a fire, and if it's not watched and kept at bay, it will spread and it will destroy everything.
Might as well just
extinguish. Washington had a quote something along those lines where government, is a good servant when tamed, but a beast when not watched. They kept in check.
Let me find out. Jim Morrison was into government. Come on, baby, light my fire.
Oh, he has some ones too. We're also talking about Washington. But yeah, Jim Morrison has some interesting ones too.
No, man. Yeah, it's like having a little bit of cancer. I mean, I don't want a little bit of cancer.
Give it all to me.
Yeah, no, cut that sucker out and get rid of it.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, it's been an utter failure. I mean, whether we're talking about monarchies or the republics that rose up, the French Robespierre's, or the George Washingtons that rose up to
oligarchies.
The monarchy's almost better because there's less people trying to feed off of everybody else. So there's like,
yeah, but the aristocracy had figured out a way to get past that and to have the monarchy at their whim, just like the bankers had figured it out too. Get them in debt.
Oh yeah.
I care not what a country's laws are. All I care is who prints the money.
Well, no doubt, yeah, for sure. But I mean, when you compare monarchy with democracy, I mean,
we were more free under King George than
democracy's
we
brought
had a
us
lot less tax under King George.
Right, democracy's brought us the world wars. I mean, let's face it, right? Hundreds of millions of deaths. So, it's a dirty game.
People. It's efficient plunder. It's really good at doing it. It's excellent, and people want more efficient. We need more efficient plunder. That's all we need to do is take this thing and make it more efficient. I mean, it's very efficient at wasting all our resources. And
it's like, back in the day, the Vikings were out there pillaging and plundering areas. There are other nomad tribes doing the same thing. Then eventually they figured out, you know what? We can just stop. And one of the places we plundered, just stay there and just plunder it over a long period of time and draw it out,
Yeah.
Then we ain't got to move around, we ain't got to make no effort.
Yeah.
We can have them to bring us the food.
Yeah, we're wasting all this time destroying the host. We need to keep it alive so we can continue to feed off it.
Yeah.
Hence the divine right of kings, or the duty of the citizenry, and patriotism, and paying tribute to those in power.
That's why the presidents all get knighted.
Yeah, right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, let's face it. It would be more blatant and in our face if we saw government for what it was. But it's hidden behind this illusion of. So many people involved with government. Really, so many people involved with government that you try cutting some of that cancer out, and you're going to have this and that and every other witch union out in the streets rampaging.
They're going to go hungry. They got to feed their kids, and the only way they can do it is stealing money from you.
So you better get to work, right?
Yeah, you better get to work.
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, and bringing up human nature, when you consider that humans tend to, we're not
take
angels.
The path of least resistance.
That's just the natural process of everything.
When traffic's backed up, and I know another way to go, and it's maybe it takes a couple minutes longer, but it's going to be clear. I'm taking that way.
Oh yeah.
Let's just be honest.
So it's easy to see
shortcuts, cheating.
Yeah, right. It's easy to see why the classical liberal restrained republic constitutional state led to the massive nanny state, massive almost full communistic state that we're in now, because there is no restraining the desire for humans to live at an easier expense, to live off the backs of others.
There was a Roman politician who said, once the people figured out that they could just vote politicians in to give them money, that's when the republic began to fall.
Yeah, I mean the illogicality of those that are voting, right? Of mass. I mean, when's the last time any mob
voting for your
did
benefits,
anything that was productive? Mob rule is mob rule. Yeah, riots don't tend to be productive scenarios.
No, they damage property.
Yeah, exactly. Stick you up.
So voting, right? Voting will naturally kind of lead towards that. If we think about it, I mean, it's essentially let's just get the masses to agree on this. I mean, come on now. It's voting led to the
There's
crucifixion.
There's a percentage that's not going to want the end result. That voted against the end result that won.
There's like when they voted to, kick out Uber or whatever they did over there
in Austin.
Yeah, it's just
the city needs the money from the DWIs, Cuddy. Uber and that other.
We have to protect the taxi union or whatever.
Yeah, we got to protect the taxi union too. But the city needs their money from all the DWIs.
It's a shame. It's a shame.
Hey, definitely a cool article on that is legalize drunk driving.
Sober people kill more people anyway.
DWIs are pre-crime, man. DWIs are pre-crime. They hadn't committed an actual crime yet. No property.
Well, that's the point. That's the point. If you wanted to criminalize reckless driving, well then criminalize reckless driving. Yeah. Why does it matter what you have in your bloodstream?
Coming on to a break
people that are retarded.
Yeah, true. Coming on to a break here at Truth Exposed. Stay tuned after these messages.
Logos Radio Network presents Truth Exposed Radio, a transmission promoting resistance to tyranny. Listen in as we explore counter-economics, spontaneous order, and the human strive for liberty with your host, Rick Rody, Marshall Soul, and Cuddy Rowe. And now, Truth Exposed Radio.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Truth Exposed Radio right here on the Logos Radio Network. Lines are open, 512-646-1984. Call us up with any news topics, anything you want to get out of chest. Just keep it civil, keep the FCC language down to a minimum, you know. They do regulate.
We do not have free speech.
Yeah, we're not free to speak on these airwaves, the people's airwaves, in a sense.
Even though we're homesteading them.
Yeah. Homestead.
Skysteading, right?
Yeah, Skysteading.
We're Skysteading.
There you go.
Yeah, no, would love to hear y'all's take, y'all's opinions on this concept of privatizing even the things that are the holy grails, the sacreds of government. You know, what do you guys feel about that?
Does an officer make more money in the private sector doing security and all that versus what he gets just in pay, not from all the benefits and all that stuff that the socialist setup, you know, bribes you with, but is the pay better in some senses?
Oh, I don't know, but yeah, would love to hear y'all's take on that. So definitely call in with any kind of concerns or any kind of enlightening positive attributes that you guys garner from this.
Well, you know, I'm sure there'll be different levels of security. You know, just like there's different types of cars you can buy. You know, you can buy the Jaguar, blah 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 blah.
Different jurisdictions, you know,
or you can get the Mazda Miata or whatever. You know, you can
the Ford Pinto,
and you know, it's your preference on how much you. I mean, some people might not want any and can handle themselves just fine because they've got
black belt. They're black belt.
Yeah, exactly. There
Kung Fu master.
Yeah.
They're carrying a black powder pistol on their hip. You know,
yeah, there you go.
They can tear you up if you decided to.
You know, exactly. So
I got a couple Dobermans on their yard. You know,
exactly.
Somebody's got a blunderbuss shotgun. Those old school ones.
But then people say, well, then only the fortunate will have security. Only the people with money.
Only if you regulate the right to defend yourself from everybody else, which is pretty much what they want to do with gun control. They're just regulating the individual's right to self-defense, the individual being the greatest minority, as we were discussing.
And even to own and acquire a piece of property, because, I mean, that's all a gun is a piece of property. You're not allowed to justly acquire something.
Want to control that. Get ready to control everything, right?
The original gun regulations started popping up in the 1800s were against blacks owning guns whenever they gained United States citizenship.
Yep.
They being the first United States citizens to definition. Because prior to that, everybody was a citizen of your state. Your state was a party to the Union.
Harriet Tubman didn't care.
Yeah, she didn't care. She had her shotgun out there freeing slaves. You know, she was a Republican, so to speak.
Sort of. She's more of a really abolitionist. I mean, she broke every law. She broke every law. Yeah, she broke every law in the book. So I mean, yeah.
I think she's part of the Rebel Alliance.
Yes, sir.
She illegally carried a gun.
She was an aggressor. She was smuggling humans. She was packing
for sheer profit. You know, that personal gratification of bringing liberty and liberation to people.
Yeah, isn't personal gratification profit? You know, and if you enjoy, you know, what you do, the act that you do for somebody else, you know, helping them out, you know, isn't that, you know, a reward unto itself, a payment unto itself?
I mean, ask anybody on the street about these concepts, and they'll say, well, who's going to take care of the homeless? Just proving.
Who's taking care of them now?
No, but it also proves, though, that they care about the homeless. So they act like nobody cares about the homeless when everyone cares. Everyone's worried about how you're going to take care of the homeless when you ask them.
If we had more money,
if we all had more money,
they figure out ways to make money. They go to churches and places to seek, you know, refuge.
If we were free to
necessities,
build them the little mini houses, and they weren't taking those over, and we were free to go out and feed them and help. I mean, and hire them. I mean, you can't even, you know, it's illegal to go in.
Yeah, you can't do freelance labor. You can't walk up to them and say, hey, you know, you need money. I tell you what, come over here and work with me for a little bit. I'll pay you $50. Gentlemen's,
Uncle Sam doesn't get a part of that. That's illegal. Y'all are breaking the law.
Uncle Sam not only wants you to get the money for him, but think about it. Uncle Sam wants to force you to work to collect that money for Uncle Sam, thus making you a slave to work for them without just compensation.
And who does that hurt the most? The people who are less fortunate and have the least.
Exactly. Because of that, you can't go over there and say, hey, man, you need work. Okay, come with me. I got a little project for you to do, and I'll pay you this for it. A personal contract, you know?
Yeah, it's technically immoral and illegal under the letter of the law, isn't it?
Can't even enter the workforce until, you know,
you can't go
worth $15 an hour.
Yeah, you get approved.
You can't go post up and have, you know, your own little feed the homeless event. You know, you've seen those cases where people are getting ticketed for fined for out there setting up shop. You know, it's not like they're forcing anybody to come over there and eat their food, and it's not like they're charging for it, which then you could, under your status claim, you know, you can claim permit on your statism, but
they're
even
giving it away for free.
They are doing it of their own free will, coming over there and, you know, taking it for free or purchasing it, but they weren't selling. It was just giving it away to the homeless.
The state even stomps, you know, burns down tears up their little tent cities and stuff when the homeless all get together and then start trying to form a a community to help themselves out. And
Yeah.
the police go and break that up, and then they're all displaced and have to start all over again.
Steal their property, harass them, take a couple in. You know, and what good does it do take a homeless person and put them in jail? You know, then it's the taxpayers that are forced to give them room and board and food for the night,
Yeah.
to the point where they kind of look at it as a last option. Hey, you know, if
And
I
you're forced, right, to take care of them versus your own choice to go and help them out, which would have been a lot better. In the
Yeah,
first
I mean,
place.
I would imagine that in a free, competitive, free, stateless society, that security agencies would refrain from having to incarcerate people unless it's absolutely necessary for the benefit of those people, around that individual, because it just costs so darn much to house people in a big building and feed them and keep them in there in AC, or well, it's a lot of jails I guess don't have AC, but yeah, I mean, it costs money to house somebody and to have this big building you got to maintain and everything. That's not profitable. So really, we can see people that are just detrimental or violent or a threat to those around them. Those being the extreme cases where people may have to be caged, people that are absolutely mindless and violent,
Yeah, but there'll be some kind of private fund that pops up, like, the Sally Struthers, feed the African people out there. There'll be something that pops up to feed the homeless. Just like you see the commercials, if you help, adopt dogs and such, that's private business coming in, and they are addressing a problem, getting donors and whatnot, setting up adoptions and all that.
Oh yeah, I mean, look how big a person and how rich a person like Joel Osteen is, and imagine if a person could have was accumulating that amount of wealth to help people out, literally. Like,
he's really using that 501c3 to his advantage. I will tell you that.
Yeah, I mean,
I bet that his car is a tax write-off.
I mean, if somebody
the Pope blessed it or something.
Yeah, but I mean, if somebody was actually doing something good to help out homeless people, they could have built a huge giant castle or whatever, gigantic mansion to house everybody
For pretty cheap. You see those 3D printers? They're coming out and printed up castles now.
Yeah.
And you can argue that even the incentive to want to help people is completely stripped away from us, not only because we're being taxed already and we feel the burden of taxation, but then we have all these programs that are out there for the poor that, what's the point of helping people when you're getting fined by feeding them? You're getting, you're getting taxed out the schwazoo just by making your own living. So the incentive to want to help others is actually greatly diminished.
I've seen people get incarcerated for feeding the homeless. I mean, you got arrested for feeding, they arrested an old man. I forget where it was, in New York or somewhere. And I was just like, wow, this is crazy. So yeah, you're risking your own freedom to help somebody out these days because the government.
Like Harriet Tubman.
Yeah. Yeah, literally.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's a government program to help them out, why would you, you just pay? Government's there to help them anyway, right? That's why we have government. That's why I pay taxes. So why should I help them?
That's what that WIC program is for,
Exactly.
And look how many people are being helped.
Yep. So, going to that whole concept, the mindset of the classical liberal and wanting to limit government to just these select services and whatnot, we can see what the first line of plunder was right after they had those services fully monopolized, and that's commerce, ladies and gentlemen. Hence the Whiskey Rebellion, right? You can't produce and sell without our approval. This would explain why so many people clamor to the position of government to be the sole.
I get to act out my aggressions on people.
To be the sole monopolistic control freak of the land. Hey, there's a good chance that in due time, with a crisis here or there, a couple of poisoned sandwiches sold or something, God forbid, someone dies at a restaurant because they ate something and they happen to have a heart attack. Well, then, hey, you have a justification to now control that whole industry and regulate that whole industry.
Commerce clause.
Yeah, and
safety, man, safety first.
And isn't that beautiful? Isn't that what ultimately what any control-free communist would ultimately desire is, hey, the full regulation and control of all commerce.
Freedom's too dangerous. We need to get rid of danger.
Yeah, let's make a.
I saw what you did there. I was like, wait a minute, get rid of danger. What? Weren't you just talking about freedom being danger when you get rid of danger? Hey, wait a minute.
Yeah. Freedom's dangerous, guys. You might fall and hit your head. Put you in a padded room.
Tell you, man, if you shave and take that grill out and put on a suit, you could be one of them.
Well, I could fake them out.
You could be one of them. You'd have to lose the chains, though.
Yeah. Try to enunciate a little better. Like, wait a second.
So we highly encourage you guys to check out the rate at which murders are currently solved in the United States. Look up the rate at which property damages and theft is solved through the public so-called security force. Those rates are horrible. I mean, you get into a crash, someone steals something out of your home, something happens to you physically, someone beats you up, and if you don't know who did it, I mean, you're going to end up calling your insurance companies anyway. So why not just deal with the market instead of having this whole level of bureaucratic status control that regulates your property and what you do with it regulates how you make a living and, how much of a living you can make. Why open up that door of control and, narcissistic?
People see the insurance companies as really bad, but they don't realize that, without government, they'll have to produce, and that the insurance companies don't go to war when somebody wrecks their car. Like, they work things out and they figure out who was in the wrong.
Oh yeah. Real quick.
It's in their best interest. I mean, they deal with each other all the time, right? The insurance companies do. So.
Yeah. So narcissistic megalomaniacs aren't the way to go, ladies and gentlemen. They really are not. And the best way to have so-called public servants serve the public interest is to have them freely compete. Let's open it up to the market. You think you're doing society such a great service? Well, guess what? You should probably face some competition.
Let society be the judge of that, right?
Yeah. Give us a choice on whether we want to fund your endeavors.
Yeah, and leave society, right? The civil to the civilized to the civil.
To get right back to the society regulating, those who they hired to, entrust their laws to, regulating their laws, so they don't get things misconstrued.
It's just not very civilized when we're supposed to be living in a civilized society to force your ideas on.
We can't go around fleecing each other now.
We're coming on to a break here at Truth Exposed. Stay tuned to after these messages.
This is the Logos Radio Network.
And we're back live this May 11, 2016. This is Truth Exposed. Phone lines are still open, 512-646-1984. And we're just getting into some lively discussion about decentralization and polycentric law. And, really showing, trying to open your eyes towards the voluntary choices in the market are really,
The consumer is the regulator. With competition and the consumer regulating, you're going to get a lot better product in the long run. And by product, that means anything that you're paying for, services and whatnot. Competition will always bring out the best.
Yeah. I mean, people always shop for the bargains. I mean, a lot of people do. And there's consumer reports. People like to check consumer reports before they just go out and blindly buy things, Find out what everybody says about the products, It broke in 2 days. And 100 people say that. Well, then they don't buy it and they go somewhere else and buy the one that works,
Yeah, a company will start to get a bad name if its products are, bad. It's starting or don't have the
bad. Monopolies are bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, yeah. So it doesn't take a genius and a rocket scientist to figure out why people, this political class, wants to monopolize on these essentials so much so, because it just leads to the monopolization of everything else. As we're bringing in commerce, which is the next logical stage of monopolization and regulation through government, and that has led us to where we're at now, where you have the complete regulatory society based on regulating and taxing and licensing and selling us permits on freedoms we've already had for everything.
I'm telling you, man, you're going to have a license to mow your lawn and pull a permit for that one day.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure
you got to have one now for using a walkie-talkie now because it's FCC airwaves, bro.
What?
Yeah.
I got walkies. I use them for work.
You can't fly a drone. You got to get a permit for your drone now.
What if you already had your drone?
Man,
it would be...
You didn't get grandfathered in, bro.
You can't be passing post facto laws.
They don't care.
So when it comes to this holy grail, this untouchable, holy idol that you're not really allowed to question to any degree. Again, like I was saying, it's no surprise as to why it's being done. And our choices are quite simple, ladies and gentlemen. Either we're going to, contemplate over the possibility of opening this up to free competition and thus bring in liberty into society, or we're quite literally going to see such a monopolization and centralization continue to occur that we're going to wake up in a full-fledged communist state one day.
Yeah, it's really looking like it right now.
There's not going to be in the bread lines. We'll still be in the bread line, but there won't be any bread.
Yeah. Soylent Green.
Yeah, so the choices,
the secret ingredient of Soylent Green?
Choices are simple, and think about communism for a second here. When the state owns all means of production and owns all factors of production and land and basically sets prices and wages and sets everything. I mean, really, is there any more centralization that you could ask for at that point? I mean, hey, it's for your safety, right? I'm sure that it's for the benefit of everybody. But unfortunately, benefit of everybody means the detriment of everybody. And no one's allowed to do anything without the approval of the bureaucrats, state bureaucrats. And that's where we're heading. I mean, so our choices are quite clear. Are we going to get informed on the nature of economic theory and free market, concepts and free market power structures and by power structures, I mean just free market economics, just how those things work.
The flow of the economy.
Right, the tug and pull of supply and demand and competition. Or are we just going to continue to rely on monopolies and centralization to solve our problems? That's not the way to go. I mean, it doesn't take again, just look at the annals of history and look around you, look around the world, see which countries are prospering and which ones are failing, detrimentally for their people. And it's not a pretty sight.
Society just doesn't know how to act if it's not being robbed and being forced at gunpoint to act a certain way.
No, it's just the annals of history are pretty nasty looking.
That's what people think, though. I mean, minarchists, we need a little bit of theft and a little bit of coercion. Like, what are you talking about?
Just a little bit, Cuddy. Just a little bit.
Society will not know what to do with. They're not being forced at gunpoint to be nice.
It's like the mindset of, we have to have troops overseas. We still got to be out there fighting the terrorists. Yeah, our government's out there fighting all these unjust wars. We still need to have people out there.
Yeah, it's
no. We need to bring them back.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's really sad. I mean, the situation we're in. I mean, when you consider the people that we're talking to, the majority of the American populace, the warmongering or socialized mindset that is going on through people's little membranes there.
Very little.
Yeah, it's just it's very saddening. It's very disheartening because you can't. It takes many years of study and analysis and really questioning your beliefs and looking at alternative information to even come to a lot of this knowledge. And I don't think enough people got the oomph to do that.
Questioning my own beliefs is what really did it for me. I mean, somebody told me one little thing, and I said, "Well, why is he thinking that? Why do I believe this?" And the next thing I know, I just started investigating and
started the chain of events where you started looking into all these different aspects of things you were taught or certain beliefs you were instrued with.
Yeah.
And then you start looking at these things for yourself, and you find conflict with what you're coming across, and you cross-reference, you look into it further. And then you come to a crossroads. Do I still believe what I believe, or am I leaning towards one of these other directions of information I've stumbled upon?
Exactly. And
it happens time and time again. To this day, we're still coming across things. It's like, I hadn't thought about it that way.
Yeah, if you don't sit there and question
and come across with a humble mind too.
Yeah.
You gotta have a humble mind.
Yeah, how are you gonna grow? I mean, you're just basically shutting down any bit of information, and you're unwilling to grow. Really, I mean, it's.
Right, and some classic arguments to privatizing security and national security. I mean, you're constantly being told, well, what if ISIS comes over to take us over, or Russia and China decide to take over the United States?
They're going to take over every individual.
And they failed to think about a lot of the ideas of our own founders of this empire here. Just the basic concept of militias, naturally growing and spawning militias, and people uniting for self-defense.
How many gun owners there are in America?
Oh yeah, there's a lot now. I don't even, I forget what the number they said was.
I think it's like 8 or somewhere between 4 and 8 to 1 for every one person in America.
Something like that.
So that's a key fallacy.
That's what people are admitting.
Yeah. That's what I was going to say is like, there's a lot more than that.
Oh yeah.
Cody Wilson.
So that's a key fallacy, a bubble of deceit that we need to definitely pop, is the idea that we need a standing army in order to keep us safe and no,
because the standing army is always looking for war.
They're standing around.
That's to justify their existence. They'll give them something to do, because if they're not at war, they're bored. They need something to do.
It's like the firefighter going out and starting a fire so you can go out there and fight it.
Yeah, we didn't have a standing army until after World War I.
Yeah, and let's face it. I mean, once you control commerce and you decide where the money goes and the money flows, and you're building all these armaments and weapons of war.
Change the Department of War to the Department of Defense, just for PR purposes.
Yeah, I mean, once you got all this Keynesianism and mercantilism and essentially Marxism full-fledged, we can expect exactly what we're seeing, and that's a constant state of aggravation and a constant state of war and unsettled, treaties on, pieces being disturbed.
Chaos,
essentially, right? It's
order out of chaos.
Yeah.
Well, it's short on order, but and it's long on chaos.
Yeah.
Oh man.
And people clamor for more of it.
Yeah, because without it, we're going to have anarchy, bro.
Just wrap me in an American flag and take all my money from Uncle Sam.
It's comforting.
My American silks.
Made in China. Oh man.
Yeah, it gives you that rash.
Yeah, no, I forgot to wash it before I used it.
They use lead paint.
Bam.
Oh man.
Yeah, but the instability we see in this world is a product of these centralized powerhouses of politics, ladies and gentlemen, and it's sad we just continue to spiral downward towards them. So we gotta fight gravity here. Coming on our break, definitely stay tuned. Be back after these messages.
Truth exposed.
We all know smoking is bad, but new evidence shows babies whose fathers smoked around the time of their conception have an increased risk of developing childhood cancer. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht, back with details in a moment.
Privacy is under attack. When you give up data about yourself, you'll never get it back again. And once your privacy is gone, you'll find your freedoms will start to vanish too. So protect your rights, say no to surveillance, and keep your information to yourself. Privacy, it's worth hanging on to. This message is brought to you by StartPage.com, the private search engine alternative to Google, Yahoo, and Bing. Start over with StartPage.
Smoking kills. It's no secret, and we've all heard the health warnings. But did you know that tobacco could also kill your unborn child? Australian researchers found that although mothers smoking did not increase their children's risk of getting cancer, kids whose fathers smoked around the time of their conception were more likely to develop acute lymphoblastic leukemia, or ALL, the most common form of childhood cancer. And the more dad smoked, the greater the risk. If dad smoked a pack a day, his baby was 44% more likely to be diagnosed with the disease. So papas, consider what you're doing to your unborn kid before you light up. I'm Dr. Catherine Albrecht for StartPage.com, the world's most private search engine.
We'll be kidding about chemtrails.
You're listening to the Logos Radio Network at logosradionetwork.com.
We're back, ladies and gentlemen. Enjoying ourselves here. The Three Musketeers of Liberty. Rick Rody.
Cut it, Ro.
Marshall Soul.
And
you got to keep it a little entertaining. You know, a lot of these subject matter we go over, the doom and gloom of current events, you got to find some humor in it,
Well, yeah, and it's literally idiocracy out there. I mean,
someone's got to point it out.
Common sense is far.
Common sense is a rare trait nowadays.
Exactly, it really is.
Well, when you're standing in front of the devil, what better thing to do than laugh at his face?
Yeah, I mean.
So I definitely want to encourage you guys to check out the network that so graciously transmits our radio show, logosradionetwork.com. Check out their website. They got a drawing going on till the 1st of June that is really there to fund and sponsor the next year of transmissions, ladies and gentlemen, of Liberty blasting, tyranny breaking, smashing transmission. So definitely check it out. Logos 2016 gun giveaway is a first, second, and third prize, which consists of 10 different winners for the $25 gift certificate. And first, second prize, some really neat armament over here. Definitely want to check it out. Looks like Spawn or Punisher lower receiver over here with some kind of Mossad Israeli
secret agent, man. Yeah,
it reminds me of that
007
that game we used to play back in the day, Perfect Dark. Something would be on there.
The second place prize, the Taurus Curve pistol has a really cool built-in laser, perfect for a female or a private eye or whatever.
Anybody that wants a built-in laser,
yeah, anyone that wants
a flashlight,
identifies a cyborg, built-in lasers,
yeah.
Definitely want to check that out. And I do believe they still have a little incentive here where if you it only takes $25 to join the drawing, and you get some My Magic Mud, which is a miracle worker when it comes to all those stains from coffee and cigarettes and not brushing enough.
Yeah,
just wipes them right out of your enamel there.
It really works. It's like.
I still say they should get Primus as their one of their spokespeople.
Yeah.
Do a little jingle for them.
Yeah, my name is Bud.
Magic Bud.
yeah.
Looking fresh and clean for sure. After you wash it out.
Yeah, after you wash it out.
Yeah, but definitely cool stuff. Definitely check it out. And of course, our great lineup of sponsors that we encourage you guys to support because they support us. The non-GMO solution using promo code LOGOS gives you 10% discount there. Doing your shopping for anything, birthdays, holidays, gifts for yourself. Going to Amazon, definitely just make the choice to go through our website, clear out your cookies for every purchase, and it gives us some credits on that.
I had a guy do that the other day. I was working at a guy's house, and he was ordering parts from Amazon to have it delivered for some things I was doing. And I was like, yeah, just go from your phone, use Logos first, and then go to Amazon, and then have them ship over those parts you're needing. I ran an HDMI cord for him, like a 50-foot one. He'd got some other parts, like electrical parts that he needed. And I was amazed. The time I was there, Amazon showed up 3 times to his doorstep.
Crazy. Pretty cool though. Pretty cool. Yeah, there's always a way you can help out the transmission. You don't have to get in the gun giveaway or whatever.
No, it's just something as simple as utilizing us as a proxy to go out there and make the purchases you're already going to do. It helps out.
Definitely, and don't forget about the Global Healing Center with Dr. Group and all the really great detoxifying products you got there, and the Gold Savings Club as well with the Karatbar currency.
Break them.
Yes, sir. Break them off. Break them off real bad.
Refer others, and you can get paid to get on this gold bullion currency, the Karatbar currency. It's free to join.
Mm-hmm.
You're also sponsoring that Michael Merritt proven method, and of course the howtowinинcourt.com. No lawyer, no problem.
And then monopolize courts, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So it's a minefield to have to go through.
You can break the monopoly by becoming self-aware in the courtroom yourself.
Yep.
Because, matter of fact, the Bar Association has a monopoly on the legal system.
Yep.
Only allowing attorneys and lawyers, well, mainly attorneys, to practice law.
Exactly. I mean, I remember being in the courtroom before and talking to an individual about what I thought, he should probably, do with his case while I was talking about what they did to me, victimless crimes. And yeah, the prosecutor comes over and asks me, "Oh, did you pass the bar? Did you pass the bar? You better not be talking to anybody about any legal stuff. You a lawyer? Trying to threatening me. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Victimless crimes, just having a conversation in a courtroom. Oh, you can't do that.
Yeah, whenever I was in one of my court cases, people were asking me things, and I would just say, "Well, if I was you, I would do this, or if I was in that situation, this is what I'd do."
Oh yeah.
And I was showing them some of my files and all that, and their eyes just were getting big.
Yeah. So,
them puppy eyes.
Some of that stuff, I got off of the Eddie Craig package, that seminar deal. So you can still get on that and get your 10 entries into that gun drawing.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, you do want to check out our Facebook page. We are in the process of working on a web page. I know we've been slacking on it big time, but for the time being, check out the fully Facebook-owned, corporatized Truth Exposed page, Truth Exposed Radio. Look it up on Facebook, and got quite a few interesting. Yeah, give us a like, and got some interesting posts here that we definitely encourage you guys to check out, especially when it comes to the production of Security by Gustav Molinari.
We can keep these discussions going off air, but you can log on there and look at the content that we throw on there, and we can discuss it more on there.
Definitely.
Oh yeah, shoot us some messages, give us some info. We always have people sending us some great stuff, and do appreciate everyone that's been sticking around with Truth Exposed. Do appreciate the listenership, the fans that we have. You guys are awesome. You guys keep us going, so do appreciate that. So, man, this whole centralization of law and everything, I know it's a new concept. It's only a couple hundred years old, apparently.
It's a lost concept.
Yeah, one of those hidden treasures, right?
It's occulted. It's been hidden away
intentionally.
We're trying to shine some light on it, and once enough people know and figure it out, it won't take anything but everybody to ignore, turn their back.
Man cannot rule themselves, Cuddy. You must let other man control you. Man is too corrupt to rule himself.
Yeah, so
he must elect other people just as corrupt to rule him.
Exactly.
And this isn't some. I know a lot of people that support the institutions of power and the political hierarchy tend to just brush us aside and brush us off by thinking to themselves that we must be some just rebel rousers that want to get away with this or that, or just enjoy causing a ruckus and whatnot. And
most of them get a paycheck from the
well, yeah, not to mention the personal incentive that's tied into the whole equation. But we really, truly are what we're seeking is a more just, a more responsible, a more peaceful society. And when you consider private prisons, which tend to be the holler of the day, people ranting on about private prisons and how horrible the concept is. Where are these prisons getting their money from? Who's paying them for every single inmate that they house? Well, it's the government.
And who's making all the inmates?
Well,
right. But it's the
inmates that make goods, and they're forced to make goods.
Right.
We're getting wages, or if
we're getting
no doubt. But so who's paying the jail, the private jail or the prison, to house for every inmate they house? Well, that's tax dollar, tax money going straight to the pockets of those private jails, private prisons. If we were a stateless society without taxes, well, any prisons that were created to house people, sure, they would be getting money to house people, no doubt.
But you also see,
but would you be housing just everybody? Because who's going to be coughing up that money to house people? What's going to be the security agencies themselves, or possibly the arbitration agencies that were hired by those criminals that are locked up? They would have to cough up their own incarceration for
You've also seen that the prisons have been caught being lobbyists for particular laws that would give them an influx of inmates to get more money per head from the taxpayer. So you have to be vigilant of corruption in all cases too.
And some people might not mind it because they're like, oh well, I don't do that, so I don't care if it's illegal, so I don't have a problem. But they will start to care once they're paying for their own family member to be locked up, for some of these unjust things, having a plant and any other victimless crime there is.
Jaywalking.
Yeah.
You ever seen that little kid get in that scuffle for jaywalking? Oh my God.
Beat up by the police.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, just YouTube that one. But it's hilarious how these people that are so quick to to excuse the grievances of government are so quick to get pissed off when they don't get their say.
Easy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to Exposed Radio. And we were just getting back into the different competitions and laws and different aspects that you want to privatize.
Privatize it all.
Privatize it all.
If it moves, if it breathes,
let it be.
Privatize it.
If it doesn't move, if it doesn't breathe,
privatize it.
Yeah, no, totally. And again, to really finalize our last segment on the idea that we're just some rebel rousers that want to get away with this or that, as many people automatically think.
I've heard that. You just want to get away with crazy stuff.
Yeah.
He's Hitler. He wants to get away with everything.
I've heard that. I've literally heard that from people.
But remember, what Hitler did was legal.
Yeah, exactly.
And it was done by the government, right? I mean, it wasn't
done
he wasn't
through
some,
the government.
Yeah, he wasn't some.
And because it was legal, it was perceived by the people as just, exactly.
Ethical, moral.
Yeah.
The right thing to do. Yeah. At which point are you going to be willing to say no to orders? What's it going to take? At which point are you going to be willing to break the law like Harriet Tubman did to free people?
And think about it. Who's more morally culpable? The person who told you to do something or the person who went and followed through with the orders in the act? I mean, yeah, they're both morally culpable, but the person who went and followed through, I mean, if I tell you to go and do something and you do it, well, yeah, I'm partially to blame. I told you to do it, but you went and acted like a robot and just did whatever I told you. I mean,
you have your own free will to do or not to do.
Exactly.
You're held accountable for your own actions. Now, it'd be kind of different if you paid him to go do such and such thing. Then
but then it's still,
you gave him incentives, so you're kind of tied to the matter. But
true, definitely. But
he still went on his own free will, decided to do the act.
He went and took some money to do something bad. Exactly.
Makes you wonder why the Nuremberg trials always just prosecuted the lower end grunts and not all those people that were shipped into the NASA agency.
Operation Paperclip.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, they get the low hanging fruit and they take the good stuff.
Got to have somebody to crucify and burn in public. That way, everyone.
Yeah, did you see those
everyone's
guys like, petrified, shaking, almost urinating on themselves?
Well, that's what they do with the drug war. They'll go and get El Chapo, but they won't. They're not gonna. They're just gonna replace.
Did you see
head.
They'll get them to escape a couple times. Yeah,
exactly. It's to make it seem like they're actually fighting.
Did you see that report the other day that came out? There was a guy in the Nixon administration who came out and said that the drug war came about just as a tool to fight against the political turmoil that's going on and to fight against as a tool of racism. To break up certain like the Black Panthers back then, and to of course stop the hippie movement. And of course, Texas has their background with fighting the Mexicans over it, saying it's a drug that made the Mexicans lazy and such. That should be banned.
Well, right. And this is another crucial point to a privatized law society is that there would be no incentive, there would be no justice, there would be no right to prosecute somebody for a victimless crime.
That you'd be held accountable for doing such a thing.
Exactly. There is no reason to prosecute anybody for a victimless crime. If there's no plaintiff,
exactly. There's no plaintiff, there's no victim. Then who's going to get up in court and say they done this?
Who cares what you do with yours in your own? Hence laissez-faire. Right? Let it be. Mind your own.
When that company, let's say you hired a private police force, that company can be held accountable for falsely arresting somebody or harassing somebody or hurting somebody that was not the target of such treatment. And so that accountability being there, where they could be directly sued and held accountable or personally by the individual, then of course there's more incentive for them to act right and not screw up and have policies and training in place to where such things would not happen.
Oh, most definitely. Instead of getting paid leave, you get fired. Yeah. And you lose your job.
You shoot a person that did not deserve it, you get held accountable for it. You
Most
shoot
definitely.
your taser, and the person cracks their head open and gets paralyzed, you're held accountable for it. If this jury of your peers, says that you done such.
Yeah, for no reason, right? And that would be something that would be determined amongst these free competing agencies of protection, and whether it's life insurance or property insurance or anything of the sort, they would determine whether their client was at fault or not, and those things would be settled out, and
they delegate it out in court, and they figure out amongst themselves the costs. And
Well, that's a good one. I mean, it's just like the Obama Medicare, whatever that Obamacare garbage is. It's like everybody knows they want to choose whatever medical care they want. So why should it be any different with law?
Did you see that one screen that was saying like at the healthcare.gov was saying have you ever had a death? Was it basically saying had you been killed in any of your accidents?
Yeah, I saw
forgot
that
the terminology, but the way they said it was pretty much saying like, have you died as a result of any of your
have
your
any
accidents?
has an accident or illness that you've had resulted in death?
Yeah,
And
pretty much.
Yes or no question as you're signing up for Obamacare.
Yeah,
the multi-million, $500 million website.
that sounded just like when Sheila Jackson said, "What was it? All murders are due to homicide."
Yeah, right.
Duh.
Yeah, rebel.
Obvious there.
Yeah, it's just crazy, man.
So no, we don't want to get away with hurting other people. We don't want to get away with stealing the labor and the acquired wealth of other people. Not at all. What we do want to get away with is to be able to contract with others that want to contract with us as we see fit, to be able to do as we want with our bodies and to be able to do what we want with our property. And not only we're looking out for ourselves, but we also want every single individual that has been a victim of statism, whether a political prisoner and locked up for victimless crimes, or murdered and killed and their village destroyed, their families totally annihilated at the hands of a horrible imperialistic foreign policy
affairs. Definitely, yeah.
It's disgusting what we're allowing, ladies and gentlemen, and just because it hasn't happened to you, don't let that put a cartilage over your heart. I mean, just because it hasn't happened to you doesn't mean you shouldn't care what's happening to other people. People try to act so empathetic and so caring when it comes to requiring government to take care of us. Who would take care of the poor and who would take care of the downtrodden and who would bring in justice, when they're calling for the very thing that is causing those problems.
Yeah, you're asking for the thief and the murderer and the robber to not kill and steal. Like it's not going to
protect you from killing and stealing. Yeah. Ain't gonna happen.
Yeah, it hasn't worked very well so far.
So we've tried monarchies. We've tried
oligarchies.
We've tried republics. We've tried constitutions.
Let's try freedom.
Don't forget your democracies. We've already tried that.
Tried democracies.
The Greeks invented that, supposedly.
Led us to a lot of,
and all of them are just forms of collectivism.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't sign the Constitution. I didn't vote for that leader. Why should I?
You were
be
born.
bound?
You agreed to it.
Implicitly.
You got that birth certificate.
When they took your palm, they took your foot. They
came out of the waters. Came out of the waters. There was a commercial transaction going on there.
Yep.
Docking, right? Docking on
you docked into the berth of the harbor.
Yep. Came down the birth canal.
You came out the vessel, Rick.
Yep.
Well, hey, that's why they shouldn't regulate commerce, huh?
Your mom filled out the bill of lading.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So we don't want communism, ladies and gentlemen. We don't want dictatorship.
Good.
We don't want violence and war. And you know what? To finish it off, we're not utopian. We don't believe in unicorns and we don't believe in fairy tales and happy endings, because not everything ends nicely and to the benefit of everybody. Some people make bad calculations. Some people do bad things. This is a reality of life.
Yeah, quite contrary to the opposite. The people who want statism are the utopians because they think using force and coercion in the right way. Oh, if we steal people like from this amount and we push them this way,
or if we just had this person in power,
we're going to perfect society. It's not working. It's not working.
So whether the next president is Hillary, Bernie, which is highly unlikely, or the Trumpster. The Trumpster, I hate to burst your bubble of hope there.
Don't burst my bubbles.
But one thing that is guaranteed is that the state will continue to grow. Will continue to indebt us all.
I heard Trump already had signed a Goldman & Sachs guy to his old financial advisor. I'm like, oh man.
Oh, I'm sure.
There we go.
I'm sure, and get ready for the housing market crash if he ever does get a hold of every single illegal and gets them out of the country. Because
they may just crash the market under him.
That's just gonna. Well, I mean, if you kick out every single illegal there, I mean, that's going to be a lot of homes and apartments that are all of a sudden going to be vacant.
Yep.
Get ready for an extreme decrease in the cost, right? Because you're going to have a drop in demand and an increase in supply, and So prices are going to drop dramatically.
But they're still in our gerbs.
I'm sure. I'm sure. And oh man. And I guess the biggest stickler when it comes to that whole issue, the illegal immigration that people have is the idea that somehow they're living off of welfare or whatnot. Why not address the person the institution that's actually directly stealing from you instead of getting mad at the individuals that are secondarily, secondhand beneficiaries of such theft?
We're such about freedom, but just not the freedom of migration.
Yeah,
the freedom of movement. Since you were born here, you are not allowed to move over there.
Like I always explain to those that are against it, it's like, hey, if you get rid of all the welfare and all the incentives that like how it's clashing, it doesn't really matter who's crossing the border because everybody's paying and conducting commerce, and
people will have to produce to
that they're coming over there spending their money.
Get rid of government, yeah,
they're bringing their
take
money
away
over.
voting.
They're bringing their money over purchasing goods, keeping the economy going. So what does it matter?
Yeah, they're doing.
Oh, it doesn't matter at all. I mean, yeah, people have to consume, right? More people equals more consumption equals more production.
They drive down the cost. They drive down the wages. There's all these fallacies.
Well, put tariffs on everything and force everything to be made in the USA. Then
force everybody have to get a license for their jobs.
Yeah,
we're trying to do that. We're working on it. Voting for Trump.
National ID card down the way. I got to find out if you're illegal or not.
Well,
you may be ISIS. We gotta find out.
Mm-hmm.
Willing to take a chip?
Nope.
Oh, you gonna take the chip? Make sure you're not ISIS. Only if it's got salsa on it. Gotta have my chips.
American salsa.
Texas
made in New York City.
Get a rope.
This chip was made in Silicon Valley.
Yeah. Well, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure as always. It's been a joyful ride. Definitely, we'll be here next week, next Wednesday, 6 to 8 p.m. Stay tuned for the Crypto Show. Peace, love, and anarchy.
Dude.